Welcome, everyone. I'm Ed Gordon. On this edition of Weekly, our roundtable examines recent cases of what many are calling police brutality. But first, our headliner. Writer-director Qasim Basir is making headlines, tackling the difficult issue of Muslims in America in his newly released film, MOOZ-lum, starring Danny Glover and Nia Long. Welcome, man.
Thank you.
We were just talking off camera. That you are from the Detroit area. I grew up in Detroit, and with the proliferation of Middle Eastern folks in that area, you very well knew the dynamic between Black America and Muslims. You also understood the idea of what it is to be Black and Muslim in America. Talk to me about the dynamic and what that brought to making this film.
Well, I was privileged to be able to make this movie because it's like showing something that has not been shown before on film. I grew up in Michigan, and that culture, that mix of cultures, did a lot for me.
And I love the title, because those that know get it. MOOZ-lum, you know, you went with that.
My parents, a lot of our parents converted to Islam back in the 60s, 70s, around the Malcolm X days. And their families, a lot of families weren't too happy about that. So it was this sort of a derogatory thing where it was like, oh, you one of those MOOZ-lums, you know? And it was like, you know, they knew it wasn't right, but it was sort of a but it kind of stuck, you know? And nowadays there are many different ways people say it, you know, Muslim, MOOZ-lum, but it's pronounced Muslim. And, you know, the mispronunciation, the misspelling of the title has to do with the misunderstanding of the faith and the people.
Underneath it all, it really is a story, too, about a relationship between a father and a son, generational relationships, etc. For you, I suspect this was part of your story, too.
Yeah, the story is an autobiographical piece, and that is what I feel will connect this story to many different audiences, because it is a story about a family at its root, you know, about a family dealing with family emotions, with pain, with love, with happiness.
Hey, where's your kufi?
I have my regular hat, so I didn't think I needed it.
Well, get your kufi and put it on your head. That's it. Assalamu alaikum.
What was it like for you, young, first-time director of this scale, to work with stalwarts like Danny Glover and Nia Long?
You know, I learned more on that set than any other part of my career. It was a great learning experience. It was a great collaboration. There was a certain level of respect there that I appreciated, because, you know, you could walk on a set and like Danny Glover, like, you know, I've done 200 movies.
What you gonna tell
me, like, what
right?
are you gonna tell? Like, how do you direct Danny Glover, you know?
Quincy, this phase will pass, okay?
But it was a respect thing. It was like, we're gonna talk about this character. We're gonna talk about these scenes and their motivations for X, Y, or Z.
The other thing that you took on that I found interesting was 9/11. After that, Muslim became automatically tied with terrorism, evil, dark, wrong. What of that?
There's something that happened in 2001 where they got on TV and said, the Muslim extremists, the Muslim terrorists, that should have never happened. Like, there are terrorists and there are Muslims. And when that happened, that became the verbiage. That became what everyone was saying. And for a layperson who does not know much about it, if that's all you're hearing, I mean, how couldn't you connect the two? And that entity, while it does exist and while it is real, it's something that Muslim people fear too. You know, terrorists are terrorists, and they have their agendas, and I'm not gonna get into, you know, why they're doing what they're doing, because I don't know. But that's just it. I don't know, and a lot of Muslim people don't know, because what they learned, what I learned, is very different than that. And that's what we're trying to do in the film. It's the first time we're actually seeing 9/11 happen from the perspective of Muslim people. For people to realize, like, oh yeah, you know, that affected everyone here. We're all American. That affected all of us.
There are no terrorists here. Who are you talking about? Talking about them.
You honestly think you can come into my country and kill my people and get away with it?
The attempt to humanize a people through film, I think, can do some good in a society where where there's a level of discrimination happening more than what I've seen in my life, open discrimination. Because like I said, I'm a black man. I've been in America, you know, things have happened. It's a lot more subtle, you know, you get pulled over, but like people, they get on TV nowadays and you can say things about Muslims that you can't say about anybody else without losing all of your credibility, or as a politician, as a business person, whatever, but people are doing that now, and it's somehow okay.
This really does approach the level of dealing with not only people as people,
Right.
but also makes you deal with hate.
If we come together and deal with this in a more reasonable fashion, other than the ignorant, because the ignorance is what creates the fear, and this fear is what creates all these other things. And again, that's our attempt with this film, is to erase a great deal of ignorance.
Well, certainly the film has allowed for the first step toward that. I salute you, man, and congratulations on the buzz on it, and I hope it goes a long, long way to starting not only a great career for you, but starting some better conversation to intelligence around this. Go see the film, you'll enjoy it. Up next, are the police above the law when it comes to shooting black? Take that on our roundtable right after this.